All right, so we're diving deep today into global strategy and leadership trends heading into 2025.
Yeah, it's going to be a wild ride.
We've got incredible intel from Sophie Krantz.
Oh, yeah.
She's a global strategist who really knows her stuff.
Really cutting edge.
She's identified 25 key shifts that are already happening,
Yeah,
and we're going to unpack those for you today.
that's right.
So, to get us started,
Okay.
Sophie isn't just an academic.
No.
She's out there working with leaders across different industries, helping
Sure.
them navigate these global changes.
Mm.
So her insights are both cutting edge
Yes.
and incredibly practical.
Very much so.
To kick things off, let's talk about this fascinating paradox Krantz highlights.
Okay.
She points out that we live in a world where borders are simultaneously becoming less
Right.
and more important.
Yeah.
It's like this push and pull that's creating a lot of tension.
Yeah, for sure. On the one hand, we're more globally connected than ever before.
Yeah, I mean, think about the flow of information, the ease of travel, and the interconnectedness of the global economy.
Right. But at the same time, we're seeing a resurgence of nationalism and protectionism in different parts of the world.
Yeah, that's true. It's like people are clinging to national identities and physical borders in response to this rapid pace of change.
Makes sense.
It's almost like a security blanket in the face of uncertainty.
Yeah, I can see that.
I'm curious, how do you see this tension playing out in the business world?
That's a great question. Well, businesses are having to adapt to this complex landscape.
Yeah.
And it requires a nuanced approach. You need to be globally minded and understand how to operate across borders, but you also need to be aware of the political and cultural sensitivities in different regions.
So it's about finding that balance between global integration and local relevance.
Exactly. And it's not always easy. You have to be able to adapt quickly and adjust your strategies as the landscape shifts.
For sure. Okay, so that's the big picture context. Now let's zoom in on something that's particularly relevant to you.
Right.
Diversification. Krantz emphasizes the importance of de-risking through diversification, especially in today's volatile world.
Absolutely. The past few years have been a real wake-up call.
Definitely.
We've seen how interconnected and vulnerable global systems can be with pandemics, supply chain disruptions, and geopolitical tensions.
It seems like every week something else is happening.
I know, right? So diversification isn't just a nice to have anymore. It's a necessity.
Like the old saying, don't put all your eggs in one basket.
Exactly. And what's interesting is that Krantz specifically points out that digital strategies can be a low-risk way to test and enter global markets. You can experiment with different approaches, reach new audiences, and gather valuable data without having to commit significant resources up front.
So instead of diving headfirst into a new market, you can dip your toes in the water digitally first.
Precisely. It's about using digital tools to gain insights, build relationships, and test the waters before making major investments. And for someone interested in global strategy, that's a really valuable insight.
It makes a lot of sense. Okay, let's shift gears a bit and talk about power dynamics.
Right.
Krantz argues that we're seeing a move away from traditional power centers and middle powers are starting to play a much bigger role on the global stage.
Definitely.
She specifically mentions countries like Indonesia and Brazil. What's driving this shift?
Well, these middle powers are experiencing rapid economic growth and technological advancement.
Okay.
Think about it. Their combined GDP adjusted for purchasing power already surpasses that of the United States.
Wow, that's incredible.
It is. It's a huge shift in the global balance of power, and is only going to become more pronounced in the coming years.
So it's not just about the size of their economies, but also about their rate of growth.
Right.
They're catching up quickly, and in some cases, they're even leapfrogging ahead in areas like renewable energy and digital innovation.
Yeah, they're really making strides.
Yeah. What does this mean for someone thinking about global strategy?
It means there are massive opportunities in these markets that might be less competitive than, say, trying to break into more established economies.
Interesting.
Building relationships and partnerships in these middle powers could give you a real strategic advantage. It's like finding a hidden gem before everyone else catches on.
That's a fantastic point. Instead of focusing solely on the traditional power players, it's worth exploring these emerging markets. And I'm guessing this ties into the idea of diversification as well.
Absolutely. Diversifying your markets and building relationships in these high-growth economies can help you mitigate risk and position yourself for long-term success in a rapidly changing world.
For sure.
Yeah.
That's great.
Absolutely.
We've been talking about this shifting landscape of power, and the importance of diversification and the rise of these middle powers.
Right.
It's clear that the world is changing in some pretty profound ways.
For sure.
But what's really driving these changes? Like, what's at the heart of it all?
One key factor that Krantz highlights is this growing importance of purpose. It's not just about making money anymore. It's about making a positive impact on the world.
Right.
She points out that there are these high-growth markets valued at a staggering U.S. $29 to U.S. $48 trillion.
Wow.
And these markets are driven by technological and business model shift that prioritize purpose alongside profit.
So it's not just about profits, but also about aligning with values and making a difference.
Exactly. Consumers, especially younger generations, are increasingly demanding that businesses operate ethically and sustainably.
Right.
They want to support companies that are doing good in the world and are willing to pay a premium for it.
It seems like this creates a real opportunity for businesses to differentiate themselves and attract customers who share their values.
It does. Companies that can authentically connect their mission to a larger social or environmental purpose are the ones that will thrive in the long run. It's about building trust and loyalty with customers who believe in what you're doing.
Yeah, that makes sense. People want to feel good about the products and services they buy.
Right.
But how does this idea of purpose connect with the need for global networks and resilience that we talked about earlier?
It's all interconnected. Krantz argues that in a world that's increasingly volatile and unpredictable, global networks are essential for resilience.
Okay.
These networks allow businesses to share knowledge, resources, and best practices, to adapt to changing circumstances, and to support each other through challenging times.
Okay.
And purpose plays a key role in building these networks.
So it's not just about forming transactional relationships. It's about finding partners who share your values and are committed to working together for a common good.
Precisely. When you build relationships based on shared purpose, you create a foundation of trust and collaboration that can help you weather storms and navigate uncertainty.
Yeah.
It's like having a safety net of like-minded individuals and organizations who are all working towards the same goal.
I see how that could be incredibly valuable, especially in a world that's constantly throwing curveballs.
Yeah, sure.
Now, Krantz also talks about the importance of challenging assumptions. Can you elaborate on that a little bit?
One of the most powerful ways to innovate is to question the status quo and look for opportunities where others see problems.
Okay.
Krantz uses the example of how digital tools are transforming the lives of displaced populations.
Okay.
For instance, digital platforms are being used to provide education, healthcare, and financial services to refugees and displaced people, helping them rebuild their lives and contribute to their new communities.
So it's about shifting your perspective and seeing potential where others might see only challenges.
Right, and it's about recognizing that innovation can come from anyone, anywhere.
Okay.
It's not limited to big corporations or established institutions. In fact, some of the most groundbreaking ideas are coming from individuals and organizations that are working on the front lines of global challenges.
This brings us to another one of Krantz's key points, the rise of unexpected innovators.
Yes.
She gives the example of Catalin Carrico, the biochemist, who played a critical role in developing mRNA vaccines, and Heather Cox Richardson, the historian, who has gained a massive following online for her insightful commentary on current events. Both of these women achieved extraordinary results despite facing skepticism and resistance from established experts.
Really?
Their stories highlight the democratization of knowledge and opportunity that's happening thanks to technology. With 5.55 billion people now online.
Wow.
The internet has given people access to information and resources that were previously unimaginable.
It's pretty amazing when you think about it.
It is. It's leveled the playing field in many ways.
So it's not just about who you know anymore, but also about what you know and how you use that knowledge.
Exactly. And it's about being open to new ideas and perspectives, regardless of where they come from. The most innovative solutions often come from those who are willing to think outside the box
and challenge conventional wisdom.
This is so inspiring. It's like a reminder that anyone can make a difference if they have a bold vision and the determination to see it through. But how can we as individuals better tap into this potential for unexpected innovation?
One key is to cultivate a mindset of curiosity and continuous learning. The world is changing rapidly, and it's essential to stay informed about the latest trends and developments. Read widely, attend conferences, Engage in thoughtful conversations with people from different backgrounds.
Oh.
The more you expose yourself to new ideas, the more likely you are to spark your own innovative thinking.
That's great advice. It's about constantly pushing ourselves beyond our comfort zones and expanding our horizons, but it's also about collaboration, right?
Absolutely. Krantz emphasizes that strategic alliances, even among competitors, are becoming increasingly important for tackling complex global challenges.
Interesting.
We're often conditioned to think of business as a zero-sum game.
Right.
But in a world facing issues like climate change, poverty, and pandemics,
Yeah.
it's clear that we need to find ways to work together.
So it's about recognizing that we're all in this together.
Exactly.
And that collaboration can lead to outcomes that would be impossible to achieve alone.
Exactly. By pooling resources, sharing knowledge, and leveraging each other's strengths, businesses can create a more sustainable and equitable future for everyone.
So we've covered a lot of ground in this deep dive into global strategy and leadership trends for 2025.
Yeah, we have.
You know, from the shifting landscape of power to the rise of unexpected innovators and the importance of purpose-driven businesses, the need for collaboration and challenging assumptions.
Yeah, it's been a lot to unpack.
It's clear we're living in a time of unprecedented change and opportunity.
Possibilities.
And as we've discussed, you know, these shifts aren't just abstract concepts. They have real-world implications for leaders and decision-makers across all sectors.
Very much so.
The question is, how do we make sense of all these trends and harness them to create a better future?
That's the big question, isn't it?
It really is. It's the million-dollar question.
It is.
And, you know, it makes you think back to that quote from Stephen Hawking we touched on earlier.
Oh, yeah.
You know, we're all now connected by the internet like neurons in a giant brain.
That's a powerful image.
That's a really powerful image that speaks to the potential for global interconnectedness and collective intelligence.
Absolutely.
It highlights this idea that we're not just isolated individuals, but part of a vast network. And our actions, no matter how small they may seem, can have ripple effects throughout the world.
I love that.
It's both humbling and empowering.
It is.
So given everything we've discussed, I want to bring it back to you.
Okay.
Where do you see yourself fitting into this giant interconnected brain?
Wow. That's a really interesting question.
What unique contributions can you make in this rapidly evolving world?
Well, that's a question only you can answer, but I encourage you to think about your passions, your skills, and your values.
Okay.
What problems are you most drawn to solve? What change do you want to see in the world?
Okay.
And how can your unique talents and experiences help you contribute to that change?
I think that's where Krantz's call to, you know, think big and set goals beyond current capabilities comes into play.
Absolutely.
It's not about limiting yourself to what feels possible today, but rather imagining what could be possible if you fully embrace the potential of this interconnected world.
It's about dreaming big, isn't it?
It really is. And seeing yourself as a global citizen, a node in this vast network of interconnectedness.
I like that.
And recognizing that your actions have ripple effects.
Yeah, powerful stuff.
It's about stepping into your power as a change maker and making a conscious effort to contribute to a more just sustainable and prosperous world.
Absolutely.
This deep dive has been an incredible journey, and I hope it sparked some new ideas and inspired you to think differently about your role in shaping the future.
Me too.
You know, our world is changing rapidly.
Yeah.
And those who embrace change, challenge assumptions, and seek out opportunities in unexpected places are the ones who will thrive.
Yeah. Well said.
So keep exploring, keep learning, and keep pushing the boundaries of what's possible.
Yes. Keep dreaming big.
The future is yours to create.
Absolutely.